Haw River were found alive today. But that's when the hard work began. Our Miriam Thomas on the search with Chopper 11 reports on this afternoon's daring rescue.
Swollen by a weekend of heavy rains, the Haw River poses the kind of challenge that makes a river runner's heart race. These churning whitewaters are likely what attracted Mike Newsom and Kemp Loy of Burlington to ride its rapids. But late Sunday afternoon, their outing became a nightmare. The first sign of danger was someone's report that they'd seen an empty canoe come barreling over the dam.
Every time the river gets up pretty high like this, we get calls on it most of the time. Sometimes we find them, they're already out, and then again it's like this.
It had long been too dangerous when, from Chopper 11, we spotted the capsized canoe, and searchers began to fear the worst, wondering how best to move in.
The water's out in the woods, and you're going to have to be way up, or you're going to have to have waders to get up close to the bank. That's what the problem is.
So it's dangerous to search the banks?
That's right.
By late Monday afternoon, the sky was a swarm of helicopters, the ground blanketed with searchers seeking a way into the island where Loy and Newsom were trapped, surrounded by rushing waters. Finally, more than 24 hours later, the day trip that had begun at Chatham County's Chicken Bridge and almost ended in a nightmare was over, safe and sound, for the men who spent a few harrowing hours on the Haw. For Night Watch, Miriam Thomas, TVD 11 News.
Is apparently 35-year-old Kemp Lloyd Jr., a diabetic without insulin, and 36-year-old Mike Newsom were spotted late this afternoon by one of the 3 television helicopters that participated in the day-long search. The men were located just a couple of miles upstream where their capsized canoe was spotted yesterday afternoon. The search was a race against time, and Bill Draper reports the rescue may have come just in the nick of time.
The ordeal started Sunday when the raging floodwaters of the Haw River tossed the 2 men out of their rented canoes, stranding them on a wooded island. Authorities were alerted late in the afternoon by a motorist who spotted the empty canoe. A short time later, the men were reported missing, and Chatham County had a search on its hands, made all the more frantic because one of the men was diabetic. Searchers relied on 3 helicopters from local television stations, one of them Sky 5, to scour a 15-mile stretch of the river. But it was after 4 in the afternoon before observers in one of the choppers spotted the men through the trees. The men said helicopters gave them hope through the day. They could hear the choppers searching along the river, assuring the men that their families had reported them missing.
Really had no idea, who she contacted, but when I saw the Sky 2 come over the first time, and so I knew that they were looking for us then.
The rescue was almost as perilous as the accident that stranded the 2 men. When they made firm ground, they described what happened, how the raging river tossed the canoe between 2 trees, and their frantic efforts to save it.
It broke loose, and we had a long rope onto it, and I tried to hold it, but by then it was swamped.
But the men survived, tired and hungry, but unhurt. Bill Draper, Action News 5.
A 600